Alright, this VoD review is going to be for you, Sir Bennett. You mentioned in the message that this is actually like a flex queue game where you guys are a 5-man pre-made and you all play together. So you wanted to focus on macro-oriented things so that you guys know how to work better together as a team. So I am going to do most of that, but if I give anybody individual critiques here, it's still going to be you because you were the one that submitted the video. And it also seems like your bot lane probably carries this game, but that's perfectly fine, right? Like, I just see an 0-6 Ashe and your AD carry has 13 kills. So basically you're just a 5-man pre-made and your role in this team comp is frontliner. You guys have double tanks and a Lulu into multiple assassins. That's kind of perfect. From a team comp perspective, you guys already have them beat. You have 2 threats. They're probably going to have to kill them both, but with Lulu and 2 tanks, they also have 2 people that they're not really just going to be able to deal with. So this is why, you know, Jax gets Bork later on, but with no ADC and just only assassins, you guys just roll over them, I would imagine, because your team comp is good. The one thing, though, that I don't like in the build that your Lulu has is that when I see a 13 kill AD carry at the end of the game, and she had a Lulu, sure, Lulu probably buffed her up and the Ardent Sensor was nice, but I highly doubt this Ardent Sensor has helped you guys win this game any quicker. I think when you're still up against all of these assassins, Lulu was still building Locket anyway, right? Lulu already is going to multiply the power of this Kai'Sa through her attack speed buffs and like picks regardless. So Wit's End, or not Wit's End, but Ardent Sensor is kind of redundant. I think when you're up against all these assassins, making sure your fed AD carry doesn't die is going to end up meaning more damage overall, because this fed Kai'Sa is just going to spit damage all over the place. She doesn't need more damage in the form of an Ardent Sensor. She needs to be protected by Redemption, Lulu ult, Exhaust, and a Locket. Locket is like that oh shit button for when like you can't hit anything else or you haven't quite moused over the Kai'Sa yet to land your ultimate or line up the exhaust. Locket is basically the first line of defense against assassins, and it also gives you a bunch of armor and magic resistance that protects you as well. I can understand not wanting to maybe get it because it feels like it's too much magic resistance, maybe on the Lulu, but I think that's missing the point that Locket is just way better than getting an Ardent here when you're already super fed. If you group up with Locket with your tanks and all of the defensive peel that Lulu offers anyway with Redemption, you guys are going to win team fights. Keep the fed AD carry alive. Don't necessarily make the fed AD carry do more damage because it's not helpful as much. You just want to keep her alive because she already does damage when she's fed. Going back to this though, before we get into the review, I think the items you purchase are fine, but your build is actually very weird. I see that you take Electrocute when you play him in the jungle, which is correct, and then you choose to take Meteor here when you're up against Jax. Meteor's only good on people who, when they have poke, their poke has a slow tied to it, because you just repeatedly use it over time, and it's almost like a guaranteed thing. You're really not poking people out of lane with Jarvan. You can, but it's not really what you do. What you do is you go in and like land your whole combo with a passive auto attack with the Martial Cadence and Electrocute, because you also benefit from sudden impact. Taking Meteor here with all this CDR, you're not going to need this many ultimates. I think this is unnecessary. Once you're grouping up, you're probably not using your ultimate every 70 seconds, and if so, I think that's probably not correct. So take Electrocute, take sudden impact, take Ghost Poro if you have to ward for yourself early game, because you're going to be a little squishier. And last thing in domination, I actually think Ravenous Hunter is really good. Relentless Hunter is really good because it'll help you find ganks, but when you're a top laner, I think you take Ravenous Hunter. If you're the jungler like you were in these past games, then you take Relentless Hunter because it's more your job to engage. But you have your Zac this game for that. Your Zac is the one that built straight tank. You're more of the damage still, like you're the bruiser tank, the one that still wants to kill people and like jump on the Raka and Ashe. Zac's job is to get the fight started. You can still get the fight started, but really your job is to look for the person you want to insta-kill. So when you're looking for that person to insta-kill, because you don't have to be the full tank here, because Zac is, you take Electrocute the same way you do in the jungle. This Meteor is just not optimal. As for your secondary tree, precision secondary is really never bad, but I think up against a Jax, you don't really want attack speed necessarily. So like you wouldn't want to go grasp into Jax in this matchup because he could potentially block it and he's the better auto attacker. You still have good auto attacks on J4, but you know, trading auto attacks with Jax is not necessarily something you want to do. Precision is what that lets you do more of, but that means you're kind of opting into something that isn't optimal for your lane. But yeah, Triumph and Coup de Grace are just good, right? So that's why you run it. But what I think you run here is Resolve secondary. Rather than Triumph and Coup de Grace, which, you know, that helps you kill people and live in big dives, I think you take Resolve with Second Wind for your early game, and then you take Overgrowth because you buy straight health items. Once you hit mid to late game with Overgrowth, you're going to be getting like 200, 300, potentially 400 extra health. I think 200 to 300 more health at the start of a team fight, when you insta-kill somebody at the start and turn it into a 4v5, is going to make you unkillable, rather than trying to count on Triumph procs to like keep you alive and be spicy with the dives. I think Resolve is just going to make your early game better. And it's going to make your mid-game tankier, and it's going to make you more difficult to kill, especially when you're insta-killing people on engage. You'll find that 4 people just don't have the damage to kill you, and you have Sterix and an extra 200 to 300 health from Overgrowth on top of it. It's just creating that snowball. And also, Precision early game, Coup de Grace and Triumph actually offer nothing in lane. They only help you if you're actually getting kills. If you're never poking this guy down to like 40% health or less to begin with, then this is useless, and if you're not getting any kills or assists, this is useless. So Resolve secondary in lane, just picking up Second Wind is already going to make you better in lane, which is going to allow you to probably get more fed. So in general, Precision secondary is not bad, but I think it's not what you take here, and I think you still go Electrocute, even though you're top lane. You're not someone who pokes with a slow like Sion using E or Camille using her leg sweep. So I think that's most of that. You guys do win this game, but those were the big itemization rune choices that kind of left me a little confused. Vel'Koz's build is very defensive because you're up against a lot of assassins. He doesn't have any magic pen, but Vel'Koz does true damage anyway. So I think his build is fine, except for the Spellbinder. I want to see when that pops up, because that's pretty troll. Everything else looks okay. Oh, I see. Zach bought the locket this game. Okay. That kind of makes more sense, because he naturally wants the armor magic resistance, and he scales with it better with more bonus health. He gives a bigger shield. So I didn't notice that, actually. I'm going to see where that comes up in the game. I typically still think Locket should be reserved for the person who's going to be closer to the AD carry. This Zac is probably more of your defensive tank. It's just like sit and CC the assassins. But we'll see how that happens when we get in game. I'm going to pull that up right now.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. 30 seconds until minions spawn.
Asserting your vision. That ward that you laid is probably not going to be there by the time that guy's at his blue buff. But it's still useful to lay it to see if he's starting it or not for sure. You're winning your lane nicely. Gotten Meteor off twice already, so you are using it effectively, which is good. I actually want to see if that ward was there. Yeah, it wasn't there. It died by that time. That's just to check to see where he started, because you guys didn't check bot side. He goes in again. I think you punish that with an EQ, because his E's already down, and he's past where he should be with his E on cooldown. You go in with the E there. You don't just Q him, you go in and punish him with a full trade. Generally, you should be using your E and your Q together at all times on Jarvan, just because of the way they work together. If you're using your E, you probably want to fight with attack speed. If you're using your Q, you're either poking or you're all-inning. you're just letting this guy slowly push. You use your Q right as J4 gets here, or right as your Zac gets here. When you know a gank is on the way, don't use any abilities. So I think here you guys are already communicating that, like, yeah, this guy's overextended, here I'm coming in for the gank. And then you use your Q, which is your only CC, and it's down for 10 seconds. When you're about to have a gank like this, you can't use your abilities. Unless you, like, 100% needed to push this wave first, like, in order to even get level 3, that would be the only case where you're using your skills on the wave as a gank is about to happen. So using your Q here, and then you don't even get the cannon minion is kind of unlucky. You definitely just save it for this, because if you have your Q here, you guys double knock him up. I think he still stuns you and gets away, but ideally you would just EQ all the way through him and actually be on the other side of him and not get stunned. So ideally, in a perfect world, you don't use your Q here, you walk up, EQ through him towards his retreat path, and maybe you chase him down. But overall, this is just fine, except for the fact that you Q'd before a gank. And then you flashed after him. Because you already used your gap closer, and you don't have red buff or anything to really hold on to this guy, you have no reason to flash here. He's already out, you guys already used everything. Flashing after him doesn't make a difference, so just hold your flash in that scenario. You already got his flash, that's a win. Hold your flash and keep that advantage. Because now you're getting zoned. Alright, we're gonna look at what happens bot. They just got a double kill. Alright, they just got a kill. Vel'Koz's got a kill. Where's your Vel'Koz? And then he's bot lane. Alright, so I want to see how this turns out. Now, this ends up working out, but I don't think that's necessarily because it's a good thing, right? The reason why I don't like this roam where you go bottom in general, from a mid lane perspective, is that you're already low going down there, and your optimum choice here as a mid laner, when you have this low of health, this amount of mana, and the other guy like left lane, and he can't just TP back, and he's also low, you just hard push this with all your abilities, and you immediately base as well. The reason why your roam bot just isn't good in a general sense is that you only get lucky that it works out. If it doesn't work out, the fact that you try to push and roam just with no health and you didn't push this in all the way first means Talon gets to come back to this and he gets all these minions. You had enough mana to hard push all these minions in and then base, which would have netted you probably would have gone up to 600 gold, maybe if you missed 1 or 2 CS less also, which actually gives you a decent buy. So then you could come back to lane with I don't know, cloth armor refillable, or actually I wouldn't say that. You would come back to lane with amp tome refillable and like a ward and kind of just chill for the rest of the while, because when you have no health and like a low amount of mana, that's not a good time to roam, especially because you didn't push this in all the way. So while this might work, it's kind of because you get lucky. So it's a nice little surprise, but I think better players see this coming, because they just saw you walk down, I think. At least if they were watching. And even if they didn't see you walk down, they know that if you're sitting down here, you didn't have any HP. So the fact that this Soraka checks this push, it's kind of just luck. You guys do work it out. And then, see, this is luck. The fact that Talon comes down here late and you guys kill him too, that's kind of luck. His wave's gonna push. Well, yeah, here's why it's also bad. You never fully pushed your wave and made it bounce back, so your wave is still pushed. We're gonna go all the way back here. We're not going to focus on a lot of individual stuff like this, or we're not going to get through the whole thing, since this is macro and team focused. But look how long this stays up here, right? I've rewinded all the way back to... what time is it now? 3:30. You left lane at like 3:25. This lane is still stuck in this spot. You not getting any CS for like a minute and 20 seconds. Even more than that. You left at 3:25. You don't get back to lane until like 5 minutes, and it was stuck here the entire time. So for a whole minute and a half, more than that, you didn't get any CS. You make up for that with the lucky kills that you get, and thankfully you have enough for a lost chapter. But on the whole, the way you didn't push this in all the way, and you instead decided to save your mana to gank, I just think that's bad decision making in general. Talon was forced to base through a fight that happened, and you were so low that you should have just pushed and based and bought so that you could match his base. That roam working out, and then Talon coming down and dying too, that's very lucky. As for top lane, I do want to see what killed you. Go back one more time. This is just an overstay with no mana. You got nothing left to kill him, and because you used your flash earlier, you also don't even have your flash to get away or finish the kill. I think in a different universe where you still have your flash up, you get away from this no problem, or you at least finish the kill. So this is the cost of wasting your flash. You guys already got his, don't waste yours as well. Looks like you can, yeah. It's nice that you don't miss anything. From a team perspective right now, you used your TP. You're just chilling and farming. You can probably still win your lane. Vel'Koz is chilling and farming, has a nice item lead. I think Jax has his Sheen when he comes back. Okay. I think Sheen into double longswords, it's obviously not favorable for you, but it's still workable. You can still win versus that. And then bot lane, I think, is just going to be massively ahead. I actually really like the Doran shield from Kai'Sa because you guys were outranged in this lane against the Ashe. Lulu still hasn't based yet. In general, I think supports should try to get about this much gold that Lulu has before basing. If you have only 500, you can only upgrade your item, right? If you only have 550, you can only get a potion, or 570, you can only get your item and a control ward. I like to base with like 700 or 800 gold on a support. That way I can finish Frostfang, I can finish maybe even 2 mana regen beads and still pick up a potion or control ward. So I really like backing with about this much gold on a support rather than immediately with 500, only if it's like necessary. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Bot lane is in a nice spot. Zach is farming. He's kind of... Your Zach's kind of behind the curve right now. And he's getting out-farmed and out-killed. The gank top should have been better. I think you didn't naturally play out your lead advantage better top. So the fact that he decided to gank for you top and you didn't properly snowball it, that kind of takes away from his effectiveness. He took time out top lane, but it ended up not working out for you because you still ended up wasting flash and dying to the jungler himself. Zach is definitely doing too much roaming here, though. The fact that he's still not even 4.5 yet at 7 minutes is a little concerning. He gets the kills, though, and then he leaves to not soak the lane XP, and he goes to do dragon. You guys should probably pull this out, but let's see what happens. If you guys pull that out, he doesn't steal that so easily. When you're doing dragon on red side, you should pull it out for that exact reason. I also think that Zach should have stayed and pushed this wave with you for the XP, since that helps him be level 5 for this dragon fight that's about to come up. It's possible that having that smite up on him is what got it stolen, potentially. Maybe not, you know, he probably loses it anyway. But the combination of those things all mean that this is likely to turn out better. If you pull it out, if Zach pushes that and gets that EXP with you. Because Zach being like only level 4 at like 4 minutes right now, or 7 minutes it was, he is dependent on this gank working. And it works awesomely because like they're pushing, you guys know you have the CC, and they didn't have their flashes, so it's a great gank. Zach is really good at this kind of thing, getting across this really far wall when people don't respect it. But because he was still behind, you definitely need to soak this XP with your team, especially if you know you're gonna go for a fight. The repeat gank spot look like they're just paying dividends. I really like this. When you know people don't have flash and you think they might just walk up again because their lane is push, it's worth staying, especially on Zach, who can E so far away. So bot lane is definitely ahead now. Like their AD carry is in the dirt. It's bad. You're going back top lane. Top lane is looking good. You have a Tiamat. I think Zach is firmly back in control of his jungle, but I actually think giving blue to Vel'Koz and then you probably base, right? Yeah. Okay. Vel'Koz has blue now, has everything he needs to continue farming and to push Talon in if he were to roam. So right now, as a team, basically Vel'Koz just farms and doesn't push and tries to not die because he has blue buff with Lost Chapter and he has straight AP. He should be a happy camper right now. Getting mid vision, beautiful. Pathing to top lane to back you up because you guys have kill potential in this lane now that you're 6. Very easy to just jump on him. This is warded though. Good thing you don't walk into that because that would have been silly. I think this is another time where you should have pushed before you go up top lane as a mid laner, especially because you have access to all of this mana right now, right? I think there's no reason for you not to push this before you roam first. So if we go back just a little bit. A little more. Okay, I see. It was actually crashing into you, then you pushed it, and then you walk top. But the other reason I actually don't like this is that you try to follow Talon. You don't have armor. You're still a squishy eyeball, and this Talon still has a level up on you. You don't follow the assassin without vision. Now you end up backing off and you play it safe. You know, you wait till Zach's closer, but Zach is actually not close enough to help you right here. If this Talon would have jumped in here, it's good you already have this vision. You have this, so you feel safer going up here, right? But when you see Talon disappear, he could have just been waiting right here to then jump over this wall with his E and fuck you up. Now you have exhaust, so maybe you flash away and you live. But generally, when you are playing a squishy control mage assassin or mid laner, you do not follow the assassin. Especially not Talon, who can hit you from really weird angles where you don't think he should be able to be there, but he is. And that's because of his E. I think you just push the next wave, like ward like you did, and then just push the next wave and then roam. You bait it out nice and safe. Zach comes in and clears it up. Saw Talon go back to mid. You did push that wave. And you're going to follow. You know Rengar is probably around at this point. He definitely wouldn't be bot, right? This is where, as a mid laner or as a team, you know 100% basically that Rengar is not bot. Because bot is getting their asses kicked and they're so far behind that if even Rengar ganks here, it's probably a triple kill for you guys. So in the back of your guys' mind, because you guys are kind of pushed up and safe here, or closer to your turret, not pushed up, Rengar's not going to be down here. You guys have too much of an advantage and it's too much of an uphill gank for him. So you guys should know that this guy's already here. As a mid laner, you know that this guy's already here trying to follow this. This is why you don't follow as a squishy mid laner when your team isn't like immediately next to you. Because you get jumped on. The problem with this picture is that you decided to walk all up close to the assassins and your team's just way over here. you need to treat your teammates as a buffer for these assassins in these matchups. You shouldn't just be following them and trying to come up and kill them yourself. You need to still be behind your teammates, or in general, just pushing and farming down waves. Because this is the third, fourth time now you kind of just left to go help, when you should be focusing on farm and pushing your lane. This Talon is deciding what you do. You need to not give in to his game of trying to chase him around, because you do not win that game. He has mobility boots and he's Talon. You're a floating eyeball. You should just be trying to push these waves down. You're losing in farm and you're getting outroamed right now. You need to make a decision and stick with it. And I think your decision here as a control mage is to just farm your lane while you have blue buff. And then push again before you even bother roaming. Because you end up using your flash here, you end up using your exhaust here. And it only barely works out for you. You do get the kill on Rengar, which is nice. But J4 dies, Zac uses his passive, and Talon gets out. With another kill, mind you. So this Talon's, I would definitely say he's outperforming you right now as a mid laner, but that's because you're falling into the trap of trying to do what he's doing. It's not your job as Vel'Koz to try and roam this much early. You should just be farming, trying to hit like your first item and push and farm waves up. You shouldn't be down in CS and roaming this hard in Vel'Koz versus Talon matchup. Your items are just fine though. You go for Luden's because he's not really killing you 1v1. Although, the longer you delay Azanya's, the riskier it is. The longer it takes you to get it is bad. But I think you still have plenty of time to go second here, because he's not really threatening you in lane. You don't need that armor to survive lane. You still need your Luden's to continue to be relevant. Top lane's chilling right now with Tabbies and Tiamat, but you know that you don't want to continue to split versus this guy. That's not why you picked J4. But that is why they picked Jax. So this is where you have to realize, like, as a team, what do you guys want to do? So you know that you want to roam and like start looking for things. But Talon is once again out roaming you guys, because that's what he does. So while you three are all up here looking kind of lost, Talon and Rengar down here killing your fed bot lane, which is bad. And you three are kind of getting nothing for it. Zac should already either be here pushing this down with you. He should have been on bot side. There should have been wards. Because all three of you are up here, and your bot lane is left stranded. And your bot lane is arguably the most important part of your team right now. So you guys forget about securing a clean fight, but I think the rest of you are just not trying to get an objective. People die, people get roamed on, that's going to happen from time to time. But while these three people are on this bottom half of the map, you guys already need to be in position to do something. And it's just a little late. You guys are like trying to find something to do, but it's too late because the kills already happened. You need to be ready to react to the fact that they're gonna go fight something elsewhere. So you guys don't answer that with anything. As for the J4, I like that you go Titanic instead of Black Cleaver next, because no one is building armor in their team, so you shouldn't get Black Cleaver first. And besides, Tiamat, Titanic with level 11 is going to let you just jump on people and annihilate them. That's another reason why you go Electrocute on J4. When you finish your Titanic Hydra, the armor shred from your Q, the lethality from sudden impact, it all goes into that really powerful damage burst that you're going to get from Martial Cadence and your Titanic proc. Titanic is going to be more burst damage against squishies with your engages 100% in the mid game than Black Cleaver would be. So I think it's appropriate that you build it first. That guy barely gets away there, kind of unfortunate. This time Vel'Koz is already pushing mid. With how much this Talon has left lane, it's 14 minutes in the game and you're only finally like actually getting some real damage on this turret. If you had committed to pushing this turret down earlier and staying in lane instead of roaming as this Vel'Koz, sure, you might not have gotten those 2 kills for bot lane. I have a feeling your bot lane is probably going to get fed this game anyway, because they were, it looks like you guys were the better players. Granted, you know, they did get fed off of ganks, but I think you guys could have done that anyway. But the problem here is, I think from a mid lane perspective, is that you try to play too much to stabilize the other lanes. If the other lanes are going bad and those roams and ganks that you go for early don't work, and Talon doesn't run down here and in and give you another freebie, then this becomes really bad for you. All of a sudden, you're going to be 0-3, building half a Seekers, never finishing your Zanyas, and Talon's going to be all over the place, killing people even more than he is now. So instead of committing to all those weird roams as Vel'Koz early game, you should have been committing to destroying this turret and pushing this lane down and getting more farm, like when you had blue buff, or when you decided to leave with 170 AP and 20% HP, instead of pushing that extra wave. And then this lane got stuck here for like a minute and a half. You needed all that CS, because now it's 14 minutes in and you're still level 9. You really could have been like a level 11 or even 12 by now if you were fed and got every minion and kills. Because if we look at like the 10 CS per minute like gold standard right now, that's not even like a real gold standard. That's actually less than perfect CS. There's probably been like 160 minions that have walked through lane at this point, so you really only have half the CS that you could. That's underselling you a little bit. It's more like a farm number that you could ideally be like very happy with at this point would be like 130 or 125. That would be really, really good. And that's actually reachable if you just stay in lane a little more. If you just push more with your Lost Chapter and your blue buff and focus on getting the Ludens first. Not all this crazy roaming. That's Talon's job. That's not your job on Vel'Koz. Guys kill bot again. Lulu dies. Lulu builds you build the Ardent first. Okay, I thought the Ardent might have come out second. But I actually think it makes perfect sense because the Kai'Sa has Ginsu's first, so you're going to stack the on-hit effects and it's going to be more effective. In that regard, I like this Ardent first. It's very good. It's the reason why you would play this matchup. So going back to my itemization criticisms that I had before we got into the replay itself, I think it's the redemption that you probably maybe didn't want. Or well, I don't know. I think this is actually fine. Because once again, your Zac is the one that goes Locket, and you still have Exhaust and your Lulu R to protect against Assassin Bursts. But what it looks like is that they still get you guys a couple times. So maybe that's just execution. Maybe that's just, you know, Talon and Rengar and Ashalt. You know, they're bound to get you guys a couple times. That's a lot of kill pressure if they focus on one person. So it's going to be difficult for sure. But seeing as how she rushed Ginsu's and you rush Ardent Sensor, I think that's correct. I also think going into Redemption second is actually correct as well, because the heal and shield power items multiply, and it's cheap CDR that you need on a support. So even though I was criticizing it early on, looking at the Ginsu first and how fed you were, the synergy with Lulu and Ardent Sensor makes a lot more sense. With that said, I think this actually is Kai'Sa's itemization error here. I think she should go Ninja Tab Eyes instead of Berserker Greaves. When you already are going to be getting all this attack speed from your Lulu, from your stacked Ginsu's, from this Ardent Sensor, I think this is the item that actually becomes superfluous. Not the Redemption, not the Locket that I was talking about. This is the one that's not good. Because Ninja Tabbies, with all of the, you know, Redemption healing and the Lulu shields and the Lulu health, Tab Eyes are going to multiply that health and make you harder to kill. When you're against basically 3 auto attackers to 4 auto attackers that all want to jump on you and kill you as an AD carry, Berserker Greaves are not what you want. You want Ninja Tabby so that, one, they don't kill you instantly, and you can still live to do damage because you're still going to be buying damage. Berserker Greaves are not your core damage item. They're just one that you should buy if you don't need to not die first. When you're against all these assassins, your goal in team fights is to not die first. And because you have someone who can give you heals and shields, you get tabbies, because those heals and shields become more worth it. So overall, I think, the itemization errors I was talking about in the beginning, it all comes down to, I think, these Berserker Greaves being suboptimal against this many assassins and ADs. Your top lane dies, but I think this is okay. You guys are already scaling into having the better team composition, as long as it doesn't get any worse from here, right? Jax is gonna have his Trinity, but you're still gonna get your Titanic and be relatively strong. I think you're only behind by a little bit anyway. You're down by about a whole level, but Bughouse has your back. And then you got his back. And I think you guys are probably gonna get this tower. Alright, I don't know if you just noticed, but that Talon jumped over your Jarvan wall. You shouldn't be chasing this guy as Jarvan. It's also worthy to note that you are super close to level 11, and you just used your ultimate. You should be trying to get level 11 first, right? You are literally like half a minion wave away. And then your ult goes up by like, yeah, 125 damage. And the cooldown goes down. So be aware of using your ultimate when you're only like one wave away from level 11. Back to bot lane, where your guys' win condition is going to come from. You guys have a lot of money right now, and you're about to get ganked. You guys have the vision. Wait, no, let's see. Do you have the vision? You guys are red side. No. But you know that you're strong. You guys back with all of your money. Okay. You guys shouldn't be here right now. Is that too much money for this? I think Lulu ideally would want to stay because she wants Moby's and her Ardent Sensor. But this is just really bad. I think you're trying to farm up your second item as well. I think this is greedy. It's a little bit. Yeah, because then you end up not even staying for the full attack speed item anyway, unless you sell your Doran Shield for it. Which you don't do. It looks like you're going for PD anyway. If you're going to buy PD, which is a defensive item, it's going to make up for the fact that you just sold this Doran Shield. So I think you 100% sell it. Unless you go for Runons, in which case, ignore me. But because you stayed in lane for so long, if you're going to stay in lane that long, just stay in lane and get another 200 gold and finish your item. Otherwise, just back when you have Zeal and another dagger and when you have them pushed in. Lulu sticks around on the map because she wants her, she wants that Ardent and her Mobies, I would imagine, or whatever it is she buys. Ionians. Where are they at? Nope, building straight into Redemption. I actually think that's fine too. Redemption's super OP.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, I'm cool with this. For some reason, though, actually, no, you're building the okay. Your Lulu shouldn't be finishing the Eye of Frost here. The only thing that gets you when you finish that item is an extra ward. You don't upgrade it and get the cooldown reduction anymore. That happened ages ago, where they put the cooldown reduction on the Frost Fang itself. So you do not upgrade your Frost Fang item when you're snowballing. It only gives you an extra ward. It doesn't actually give you stats and such. I think your Lulu, with this purchase here, she upgraded her trinket, which she's supposed to do. That's great. But I think she should have been rushing into Redemption or bought Mobies or Ionians here. This is a bit of a weird thing to try to fit right here. She could have left the base much, much stronger. And she's also building an item that I think is irrelevant with the kind of lead that you have. You should be trying to get even more of a lead with more CDR or your Redemption even sooner. Not finishing the Eye of Frost item upgrade. You only finish that at convenience. If you have like just enough or you really, really, really need the ward. And I don't think you do. I think you need more stats. You guys are just gank squatting the shit out of them right now. G4 dies, but actually kind of doesn't matter as long as you guys continue to play this win condition of group up with your Fed 80 carry. But we are going to see what kills the J4. It's worth noting your death timer's over 40 seconds at this point, right? We're after 20 minutes. Being pushed up like this, it's definitely risky because this Jax is way faster than you, right? Your build says all I really have is burst and some beefiness. Jax's build says I'm gonna beat the dog shit out of you with my Trinity Force and my lifesteal, and you're gonna have to just deal with it. So it looks like he does just that. You don't have mana, so you're over pushed. You can't run away from Jax with Trinity Force. So I think when you have this much money, you're not even up here anymore. The fact that you're up here with this much money in your pocket and with no mana is very silly in retrospect. You need to just base and buy and then go somewhere else. Or reset to the lane with more HP and more mana. You eventually buy a Phage here, I would imagine. So I think really, you're probably waiting for J4 to finish Cleaver before you group up for the big team fights. And try to get Baron in end. But all this is looking real good. J4's gonna have his Cleaver, that's not really in doubt anymore. So at this time of the map, your support needs to be setting up vision around Baron. Specifically, the best places to put it in this case, since you guys are ahead as a team and you guys have pick, because you have J4 and Zach, these wards should be more aggressively placed. Like, escort her though. This is actually super important. Your Lulu's very squishy, but she has Mobies and like a little bit of health and exhaust, so she might not insta-die if she gets caught out, but she still also might insta-die if she gets caught out. So you need to escort her as a team and get these deep wards, help her do her job, and it'll help you guys win the game. You want to get wards here, you want to get one in here or here. That way, before they even get out into the lanes, before they even walk out into the river, you know where they are. Best places overall, like in this bush or here, because you can see Gromp in blue. This place, you know, pink ward here, have this warded, have Baron warded. You know, it's everybody's job to ward around Baron, honestly. It's not just your Lulu's job, but it is your Lulu's job to probably put most of her wards around Baron after 20 minutes, including her pink ward. So escort her and help her do that. Yeah. That's good. I will say though, this isn't a bad ward, but I think it's just a little better put right here. Because a lot of the times in the mid game, you're actually going to have people like Talon who will hang out right here and then just jump over and go for kills. This ward will not see people who hang out in this choke point. But if you just put it right here instead, you're going to see the entire choke. Whereas this only sees people walking through here and here. But if you're going to have a ward here anyway, then you're going to see this anyway. And you're still not actually seeing either of the camps. Yes, you guys have wards in here, but you don't see blue, and you don't see this, and you don't see this. So I think this ward goes here, and this ward goes in here. That way you can see Gromp, you can see blue, you can still see the jungle exit itself, and you can also see this jungle exit. These wards combined just could be in way better places. Your group up to push this. You guys know you're big. J4 is still looking to finish that cleaver, but you guys are all grouped up. This is nice. You know you're strong. You know you can do this. This is what J4 is for. Specifically, the reason why this is such a good thing right now at this point in the game, they do not have a tank whatsoever. There's nobody on their team that can walk up and actually stand in front of you guys and live to tell about it. So you get all this attack speed from your Ardent Lulu, you get all this attack speed from J4 with the flag, and you guys literally just push this down with just some face tanking because you're that big. I love this group right here. Because of your Fed 80 carry, because of all this attack speed, because you have two frontliners, you guys were able to push this down. Lulu dies with her ultimate and her exhaust and her flash. We're gonna get right back to that in a second, because this could have been a lot cleaner, right? I think in a perfect world, nobody dies here. You guys take the inhib. You guys do Baron in the next 2 to 3 minutes because you just killed him or killed one of them, and you got vision so you could see him coming. This Baron is just easy, right? Like Ginsu, Ardent, Censored, Kaisa. You're gonna melt this Baron. It's gonna be really easy. But because you guys die here, you're probably not able to pick up the Baron quite so easily. Yeah, definitely. You guys all end up dying for the inhibitor, and that's actually a considerable throw. Once you get after 20 minutes right now, especially 22 to 23 minutes, this is considered a very big throw. You're playing against better players, and this Jax is somebody who maybe has a better pick into your team comp. He might be able to hard carry the game from here off of like a couple mistakes. This is very dangerous territory where like one throw could lead into the next throw, and the next throw is really what ends the game. Like next throw, you guys lose Baron, and then they push on you and just end. After 20 minutes, especially after like 23 to 24 minutes, when people really have second and third items finished, it's late game. Consequences are, inhib losing, kind of like late game scenario, setting up doom pushes. So you guys need to be more cautious about who is dead and the consequence of dying after 20 minutes. This one throw isn't going to cost you the game because you guys still have the better team comp and you're still ahead. But, like, imagine maybe it's not the Jax who gets the kill here. Maybe it's the Tristana who gets a triple kill. And all of a sudden, she finishes her Shiv and gets another Zeal. This is a bad throw overall. But the way you guys avoid this throw is because this is your push, right? This is what you guys are waiting for. Vel'Koz is able to distract him a little bit, just enough top, so that you guys are able to sneak this real quick. But we're gonna look at how Lulu does not die here. It's definitely worth noting your Lulu, whether or not she intended to, directly walked towards this Talon. And at this moment in time, your Lulu is 4 levels below this Talon, who has nothing but damage in his build, and your Lulu does not have any armor in this build. So when you are Lulu here, you need to be staying at basically maximum range away from these guys. Whether you did it purposefully or not, you walked directly at this guy, and he did a lot of damage to you, right? A lot. But you're not dead yet. Now you're dead. The way you live here, though, I think you guys still ace this fight and get Baron and win if this goes differently. Actually, you guys are silenced. That's why you get shit on. Okay. So I was gonna say, in another situation like this, right? Lulu just R's herself, Rengar gets knocked up, and then he dies before he does any damage because you guys are able to burst in that quickly. But because you are Raka silenced, that R doesn't come off, and you die. So even though you are like squishy here, you can still save yourself because you're Lulu. Maybe you had block it sooner, I don't know. I actually don't agree with that. I think your build's fine right now. What gets you killed is that you're trying too hard to kill people as Lulu, right? And because you're getting too close to the front of the fight, you end up walking into the silence. Because you were on the edge of it, right? You're clicking too hard, focusing on hurting people, when you're kind of forgetting your core identity as a support here. You are here to help facilitate your team's success. You're not here to frontline and stand in front of this Kai'Sa and be this close to your Zac. Your Zac is a tank right now. You know, he's got 90 armor and 2k life. You have 57 armor and 900 life at this current moment. Going back to face checking this Talon by walking directly at him. And then you actually walk further into the silence. This is what loses you this fight, actually. If Lulu were just standing a little further back, giving a little bit more giving more respect, and not trying to do so much damage, which is not your job right now, you don't die to this Rengar. You guys don't all die. I think you cleanly kill Rengar, and then you get the inhib. But you are just tunnel visioning on trying to get a kill, and then you really do path right into this Soraka route. So in general, when you're an enchanter, you're not tanky, you have nothing but your like supporty items right now, don't try to walk up in front line. In a universe where you are not up against this Soraka and you don't get silenced, yeah, you can still, R yourself and live. I think specifically this is where I mention self-casting by holding the Alt key. When you hear that Rengar growl come in and you're against these assassins, Lulu, you already need to have your finger on the R trigger. You can't do it here because you're silenced. But whether or not it is on you or someone else, you need to be probably having your thumb on the Alt key as well. That way, even if you can't find yourself to R yourself, or you don't R yourself using the character tabs here, like on the side to find someone to cast an ability on, you can Alt R yourself. That way, you can still move your mouse freely to do something else. So maybe instead of R and then looking to click on yourself here, but then you get panicked and you're killed because you're silenced, you're clicking to path out, aware of the silence because you're not tunnel visioned, and you already have your finger on the Alt R key and potentially ready to exhaust as well. with all those things in mind, I think this fight just ends you guys the game because you get a kill or two, inhib and Baron, and then you push again and win. You guys do throw a little bit, but it's fine. Talon picks up a cheesy kill, it looks like, when you guys try to go for Baron. So you guys all come back to life. You're trying to reset. This game goes on for another 8 minutes, but mostly this is where you're trying to look to end it. So what goes wrong here is red side vision. You guys do not have enough vision in their jungle at this present moment. Where did Lulu's ult go? Okay. You had to use it to protect yourself. That's perfectly fine. I find this happens to me a lot of support, actually. You go out and you ward and you kind of use yourself as a carrot on a stick, right? Like, even if they jump on you, you know you might be able to save yourself with your exhausting your ult. Like, you knew you could do it here when Jax was jumping on you. You just couldn't do it here because Soraka silenced you. So this becomes more, this is more of a positioning mistake, right? You try too hard to try to kill town and help your Zac, but you shouldn't even be frontlining to begin with. So the same thing that you could have done here, you could have done this if you just weren't in the Soraka silence. What killed Kai'Sa? Oh no, that is that the overstay? No, Kai'Sa actually dies a different time. Okay, we're gonna see what gets your 80 carry caught out here, and then we're gonna wrap up the review because we're approaching an hour, but we're gonna be able to tuck it in right before 55 minutes. Kai'Sa, why are you in the middle of the river by yourself? Okay, this is just kind of silly. In hindsight, I think you realize that. You tried to duel the Jax with no defensive abilities, and he just pushes E and eats all your damage. No solo flanking as a glass cannon 80 carry. I think that's enough said right there. You're away from your support, you try to fight the strongest guy who is literally made to destroy you, and it's just a bad choice. You being dead opens up Talon to focus somebody else, and it happens to be your Lulu. You being dead also allows Jax to focus your Lulu. Your 80 carry dying here is a little silly. You guys all reset. Vel'Koz buys this Spellbinder orb. And do you already have it? Okay, what could you have bought instead of this? That's what we're gonna look at. And then the game-ending fight, I think you guys just win. So we're not even gonna look at that really, other than to just look at it once. Vel'Koz, when did you buy this? Did you buy it just now? You silly. You have 3,400 gold and you spend it on that? Come on, dude. You already have her allies. You're a slow champion. Like, you have slows. Even though they do not have tanks here. You still want movement speed. I think that's the big reason why you buy it here over anything else. I think Lichbane is more useful than Spellbinder Orb here, honestly. It's just not really your style, I think, on this champion, because you're not going to stack it in time for the Baron fight, and you just don't really use it like an assassin would. Spellbinder Orb is like an all-in assassin item. It's not for a spellcaster anymore. So I understand you want movement speed because Luden's got changed and it doesn't really exist anymore. But you got to get that from somewhere else. I don't think Spellbinder Orb is where you get this from. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think it's bad in the context that you could have bought something completely different with all of this money before the game-ending team fight. I think Sonya's is way better. I think Void Staff is way better. I think Leandri's is way better. I think Morellonomicon would have been better. I think you could have sold Ionians and went double pen. You could have done so many things right here with your build that I think you just chose the one thing that looked good rather than doing what I think you could have done that was just better. but it's not completely troll. I mean, you are a cooldown mage, so you can stack it yourself. You know, I mean, you have 45% CDR. So the fact that you have 45% CDR means you can kind of stack it more quickly than someone else would at this point, and you do still kind of want movement speed to kite people. But I just think you have way better options here. I like that you buy a stopwatch though. Overall, I don't think this is bad, but it's not optimal, I don't think. But we're gonna see what the final team fight looks like. Your 80 carries bot. Just rotating. Still bot. Just pushing. Your 80k shouldn't be bot right now. Unless you guys know that this is your plan. To split push and catch them out. So it does work. This is them not respecting the fact that I think if Talon or Rengar were to be a better player, they kill this Kai'Sa. Yeah, your Kai'Sa's fed, and like I think she feels confident that she can kill them. But quite frankly, if I was her, I would not be confident without Orc and Ninja Tab Eyes. She's very killable if she messes up once. So that's why I don't like this split push to end the game. It works because it works. I mean, they get baited towards you guys kill them, no one stops Kai'Sa, and then once you get double inhibs like this, wait, no. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. Kai'Sa doesn't have the Orc, she doesn't have the Tab Eyes, she gets killed. You guys get Baron though, and you guys still end on your next push. Overall, I think we hit most of the things that you guys could help improve on. Combining item and level spikes with timings to push is definitely a big thing. Like J4 had 1200 gold in his pocket when you guys went for this push middle, which is not a bad thing. I'm talking about like the original push where you guys got the tower and Jax got the triple kill. J4 has money in his pocket, so like I don't like fighting with a lot of money in your pocket in general, but this push is still good. We already went over what could have won this fight and ended the game sooner, but that's all good. I hope this is helpful for you guys. It went on a little longer than I expected, but I hope it serves you guys well.